All right, what is up, everyone? It's the commissioner here, Jimmy Milstead, and this is the League Fantasy Hockey Storksdesk report, episode 14, and it's Monday, January 30th. Man, this has been a long month, 2023, and Jimmy's here, and my favorite deputy, Kevin Stork. We're ready to talk fantasy hockey. Kevin Stork, how are you doing?
Not too bad, man. How's everything going out there?
Well, it was nice. You're out here on the West Coast with me. It was nice to see that dang sun, even though it's been bitter cold down here. I'm sure it's
Yeah,
colder
it's
up
been
there.
pretty cold here too for the last couple of
Yeah,
days.
I don't mind it as long as that sun's out. Um, I'm good to go. I operate better in the with sun out, but
Well, apparently we're due for some slushy rain, but it's not going to be a storm or anything like that.
yeah.
But it's going to be icy, snow, rain kind of mix.
So, anyways, yeah, the sun makes me think better. I think more positively. I'm not as a curmudgeon as I usually am,
There
but
you go.
anyways, a lot to discuss on this episode. This is episode 14, right? I've lost
I
track
believe it is. Yeah.
because we were on a nice pace with every week, but we ended up getting hurt and sick
We missed a couple. Yeah.
for a few weeks. We just completed our 16th week in the league fantasy hockey, and it was a non-divisional week between the Ovechkin division and the Gretzky division. And once again, after all said and done, both divisions are now 14 and 2 against each other. Let me go over the scores real quick, Stork. We had some great battles there. There's only one more meeting between the two divisions. The rest are all divisional play down the stretch. But the matchup of the week ended up being Nova Fire Brigade, Scott Lanham. And we got some big news coming out of his camp here to discuss here in a few minutes. Nova Fire Brigade ended up beating heavily favored Probert Etiquette there in the Gretzky division, 13-9. Yeah, Stork is very happy about that. Both teams are now 10-6. So Scott Lanham, after that 4-game losing streak, midway through the season, he was worried about even making the playoffs at that point. But now he's in prime position, maybe for another run at that division crown, because the Wyoming Great Apes, they ended up losing. Where's their game? Okay, they lost to you, Stork. Langley Scorpions, you got a big win. You go to 9-7. Josh goes to 10-6. He's been struggling as of late. Big 11-9 win there, Stork. So congratulations there.
Yeah.
And the biggest. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, when you look at the standings, after last week's games, boy, did the standings get real tight. It's going to be quite a finish for the last 5 weeks.
Yes, the more drama, the better. I love it. The biggest lopsided game of the year, DB Cooper has now set a new league record with the biggest lopsided victory. They crushed the struggling Texas Freezing Mike Kuznetsov. Poor Jaden, 1-13 and 2 now. He just cannot buy a victory. He only won 2 categories, Stork. That actually is not he has tied a few teams that only had 2. But DB Cooper has set a record, 19 categories he won. And he continues to be the best team in the league right now. And atop of the Gretzky, he's now 11-5. So I don't ever hear you booing DB Cooper. Mark Raymond is on fire.
Yeah, he is, man. I got a big match with him heading down to the last game or 2 of the season. But I'm just trying to keep within striking range of him. But I'm going to have to take care of my own business against him. So I'm hoping him and Probert knock each other silly so I can creep up right behind them.
Yes, we'll get into those matchups this week as those two face off the third and final time. Back to the scores. A tough break for Mark Wood and his Woody Woodpeckers. This is a debilitating loss for him as he lost to the Frozen Norseman. Nick's playing some better fantasy hockey as of late. He made a trade to improve his goaltending. He's now 6-10 as he got a 12-8 win over the Woody Woodpeckers. Mark Wood is now 7-8-1, and he's scratching and clawing to stay relevant in the Ovechkin division because it's very clogged up top. Because Jimmy Milstead, the Adelaide Americans, yours truly, finally ends a 2-game losing streak and beat the DuPont Pipe Players. DuPont had a chance to steal this one. I don't think there was probably enough roster attention at the end there. He could have really damaged Adna, but Adna survives 12-7. Tim Pipe player Kelly goes to 5-11 now. Jimmy to 9-7. And then the only match we haven't talked about was when Washington Wendigo. They pounded Julio. This was the battle of face-off king Stork. Two of the best in the face-off categories faced off, and neither one of these two guys had the top face-offs this week. Ended up going to Scott Lanham. He had 205 face-off wins, I think, when it was all said and done, or 208. I don't have the stats in front of me, but the Wendigo, a huge win to stay relevant and ahead of Jimmy. They're in third place, 9-6-1. That tie is either going to help them or hurt them when it's all said and done, I think. Julio, this one really hurt his cause, 6-8-2. He's really, really hurting now. He needs to go on a run big time. So those were the scores this week. Like we said, interesting standings right now. Wyoming and Nova are both tied up the top, 10-6. Looks like Josh has the better division record, 7-4. Nova's at 6-5. But then you got the Wendigo and the Adna Americans sitting behind 9-6-1 and 9-7. So it's so tight there. It's exciting to watch. And then in the Gretzky division, it's DB Cooper 11-5, Probert Etiquette 10-6. DB Cooper is 9-2 in the division. Probert is 8-3 in the division. And then you got the Langley Scorpions, Stork 9-7, creeping. He gets to play both DB Cooper, Probert Etiquette, and a couple other teams down the stretch to improve his cause. Langley is 6-5 in the division. So, with that said, Stork, what stood out to you here in our fifth of sixth non-divisional weeks? There's only one more, and that's in week 19.
Yeah, one more non-divisional week, and the rest are going to be nail-biting divisional matchups. And like I said earlier, I mean, the standings have really tightened up. I mean, look at the Ovechkin division. They're the top four teams in that division are one game separating them. So that's going to be quite a race. And then, of course, you can't count out the Woodpeckers, who are not too far behind. And just take a couple of big wins and you can get right back in it, because time is running out with only 5 games left. And then over in the Gretzky division, it's not quite as close as what's going on in the Ovechkin. But there's some interesting games coming down the stretch here, besides the one game that's a non-divisional matchup. It's going to be an exciting finish, Jimmy.
Yes, indeed. This week is the All-Star break, like we talked about last show. There's one game going on as we speak right now. It's the Jets and the Blues, and that's in the first period. I see no score on my little tab here. I'll end up probably watching that game after we're done here. But the action stops after Wednesday's action, Stork, and then the All-Star break is Friday, Saturday in sunny Florida, with the skills competition on Friday night, the All-Star tournament Saturday, and then a couple days. What is it? Monday they're off too?
No, there's a couple of games on Monday.
Okay, so there is action. So we'll pick up.
Yeah, they'll be coming back on Monday.
So week 17 will continue after these 3 days of this week. Still a couple people still weren't sure about that. So, but it's an extra long week versus your arch rivals that you're playing this week in the division. Don Cherry, hot off the press, has just sent me in the rankings, Stork. Let's pull it up here. Good old Don with this week 16 poll. DB Cooper, they're going to stay at number 1. They were number 1 last week, 11-5. You can't argue with that. DB Cooper, they weren't exactly on fire this week. They took advantage of their opponent and got the job done because most of DB Cooper's Boston Bruins have had better weeks. His goaltending was beatable this week. Moving up a couple of ranks, Stork, Don Cherry has put Nova Fire Brigade back in the second spot. If you remember, preseason Stork, he loved Scott Lanham to win it all. So Nova Fire Brigade was at number 4, and I think they were all the way down to number 7 at one point, if I'm not mistaken, when they were losing. They're back into Don Cherry's good graces, and they're number 2. Josh Halsey and his Wyoming Great Apes dropped from 2 to 3. And then Probert Etiquette, I can't recall him being as low as 5, I don't think. He's number 4. He was in third spot. He dropped a little bit. He's been struggling as of late. The Wendigo stay where they were last week at number 5. Cherry's got Langley at number 6 because he beat Adna. So we'll see. Langley's been playing pretty decent in clutch. Adna's still fighting to get in. They're to stay at number 7. They were number 7 last week. The Woody Woodpeckers, they stay at 8, but they are struggling. They're kind of off and on, actually. They're still a team I don't want to talk or wouldn't want to play down the stretch. And then Yuma, another team I wouldn't want to play down the stretch, but they just can't find their winning ways consistently. They stay at number 9. And then what about the Frozen Norsemen? They move up from 10 to 11, or excuse me, 11 to 10. DuPont dropped one down to 11 again. And then Texas, Jaden, they're going to stay at number 12. So an interesting ranking. I can't really argue with it. What do you think, Stork?
No, I mean, that's pretty accurate to me. Don Cherry's always been accurate since the beginning, really. Yeah, there's some huge games coming up. I'm getting pumped up for the last 5 games of the season. And, yeah, it's going to be a great race, man. It's going to be a wonderful race.
Yeah, Don was supposed to make his picks here for week 17. I know it's a longer week. I can't seem to pull up. I already have his picks. Let's see. I don't. It's kind of hard to pull up PowerPoint when I got the show going. Let's. I got a lot of people talking to me too. Hopefully this doesn't disrupt the internet. But let's just look at the scoreboard, and he can probably tell you what his picks were, because he usually posts all by now. The week has just officially started with that one game. Donnie Boy, his matchup of the week was DB Cooper and Probert Etiquette for the 3rd straight time. These two have faced. They've always had the matchup of the week. This is going to be a barn burner. This could be for the division right here. DB Cooper's going for the sweep. They're going to take on Probert, and I believe Don Cherry picked Dave in this one. He's thinking upset. So we'll see what happens there. Wyoming Great Apes and the Woody Woodpeckers. I believe this division, this matchup is 1-1. I believe Don Cherry. Man, I don't have his pick, so I can't really. Oh, there we go. We got him up. I got so many windows open, Stork. 1 second. Okay, here we go. Yeah, he has David with Probert Etiquette winning. He's got Woody Woodpeckers upsetting Wyoming Great Apes. So those right there, 2 upsets. He's got the Wendigo over Jaden to go 2-0-1. If you recall, Jaden and Whalen have tied once. He's got the Nova Fire Brigade beating the Adna Americans. He's got the DuPont Pipe Players upsetting the Frozen Norsemen. If I recall, that series is 1-1, yes. And he's got Huma upsetting Langley. If you recall, Stork, I'll get your thoughts here, and I'll shut up. Langley has never beaten Huma, as Huma has won 2-0 so far this year. So what are your thoughts on Grapes' picks? Oh, by the way, Grapes is 52-41. He went 2-4 last week.
Well, I think he's going to have a bad week. That's what I think. I've been waiting for this one for a while now. Yes, Huma is 2-0 against me, but They're the reason why I'm not fighting for first place right now. So I got revenge on my mind. I am going to beat Yuma this week.
Yeah, Julio, I'm sure he always usually watches our show, so we'll see if maybe Julio can put some trash talk in the comments. Or it should be a long, brutal battle. Julio is a tough opponent. He doesn't always win, but sometimes he takes a chunk out of you.
He's been tough on Langley, that's for sure.
Yeah, I know he beat me as well in our only matchup. Him being in the Gretzky division, I only play him once a year, but he's got some good players on his squad. So with that, let's talk about some news. Stork, there's all kinds of news going on that dropped today. We'll save the sad news for the end. But big trade. The New York Islanders have picked up Bo Horvat in real life, not fantasy. The captain of the Canucks goes to the New York Islanders in exchange for Anthony Beauvillier. I can never say the kid's name. R2 Rate?
Yes.
He's a young player, highly touted, I guess. He still has time to develop. I know he's been playing a little bit on the island, I would assume. I haven't seen him play too much myself. And then I didn't understand. It says a protected first-round pick. I'm not sure what that means, but what do you think of that deal? Bo Horvat out of Vancouver and on the island.
I mean, a lot of Canuck fans may think that they got hosed, but Olivier he's an NHL player. So what this turned out to be was they got a player, a pick, and a prospect, and that's about as much as you're going to get for a guy like Horvat. I mean, they could have held out for longer, but when you know a guy, like you, especially the teammates, when you know a guy's going to be leaving, it really causes a problem in the locker room. So the Canucks made this deal, the better it was. The Islanders have got one hell of a hockey player. They gave up a really good pick. Olivier is a good hockey player. He's a good third line player. He's quite versatile, and they got a first round pick. Yeah, yes, it's protected, but it's still nevertheless a first round pick. So, like I said, the Canucks got a player, a pick, and a prospect, and they should be pleased that they can start moving on because there's a lot of angst with the Canucks organization right now. So a lot of unhappy fans, and it's time to turn the page and get things going again. And at least they know who's coming and who's going, because I think what they're going to do is they're going to try to keep Quinn. They're going to try to keep Pedersen. I'm not so sure if Miller's coming or going, but I have a feeling he's going to be traded near the deadline. So, I mean, it's a good trade for both teams, obviously. I mean, the Islanders got a lot better with Horvat in the lineup. I mean, just think of their strength down the middle now in New York. That's pretty impressive, really. They should be making some moves down the stretch and moving up in the standings, because they're still within striking range of a playoff spot. But, good for the Canucks to at least get Horvat out of there and clean up the locker room misery.
Yeah, it had been weighing up because I think he was like rumored last trade deadline, and he never went anywhere amongst all the hoopla there in Vancouver, a big Canadian market. Bo Horvat having a career year, 31 goals, 23 assists, 54 points. He is on Probert Etiquette's squad. In Vancouver, he was a +3. That's kind of pretty good, actually. He's a face-off master. He had 18 power play points so far this year, 143 shots on net. So I'm curious to see, fantasy-wise, how this helps or hurts. I don't think it'll hurt, but Dave Snellgrove, Probert Etiquette, goes from a more offensive-minded squad, even though they got a new coach and Rick Tocchet. They were more offensive with Boudreau. Just a small sample size with Tocchet, but we know how Tocchet is. He's more defensive-minded. So Bo Horvat will go to a more defensive structured team in the New York Islanders. You got to figure. I don't know. I don't know what to figure, to tell you the truth. I think the Metro got a lot tougher.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
He's a tough face-off guy, and he's a gritty. Islanders are trying to get in that dance, and I can only think this guy helps them. But what do you think, fantasy-wise?
Well, fantasy-wise, before I go into that, I think the one thing that the Islanders probably already looked into before they made this deal, but remember Horvat's a free agent at the end of this season. So they're looking to sign him long-term. If they want to win this deal, they got to sign Horvat for sure. Otherwise, he could be just a
rental
player comes and goes, right? And they don't want that. They want to give up the prospects they gave to have the guy for the rest of the season. So I'm sure Lamoriello has already got sights on signing him long term. But as far as fantasy, I think Horvat will take a slight hit because he's not as relied on as he would be in Vancouver. He's got a much better team around him. But of course, the structure in New York's a lot different than Vancouver. A little bit more freewheeling in Vancouver. They just kind of pawn hockey in Vancouver with what they were playing. And in New York, there's a structure. There's more defensive minded. So he might take a bit of a hit, but I mean, let's face it, he's going to get lots of ice time in New York.
Yeah, I'm interested to see. Like I said, I think the Metro just got tougher. This guy's a gamer. I think he's going to do good things for the Islanders. So move on from that trade to fantasy trade. We just had a huge blockbuster deal go down, Stork. Our fifth ever trade in the league. It's arguably the biggest one as well. We've had 5 trades this year, and this is the second one involving Trevor Zegras, big center, left wing kid who's doing good things in Anaheim on a bad team. He gets traded for the second time, this time from the Woodchucks, after the Woodchucks acquired him from Adda. Mark Wood trades Trevor Zegras, another center in Anze Kopitar. This guy's a beast, and he's been around the league forever, but Anze hasn't lost anything. And a goaltender, Darcy Kemper. Mark has been looking to get rid of Darcy Kemper for a long time. A 3-for-1 deal, Stork, all in exchange for Nova Fire Brigade's top pick this past draft, Nathan MacKinnon, Stanley Cup champion. Nathan MacKinnon goes to the Woody Woodpeckers. What is your reaction to this trade? It was huge. It just literally went down probably just an hour ago as the league offices approved it. What do you think? Who got the better end of this one?
Well, we've been hearing rumors for the last couple of days of a big deal going down, and that certainly was a big deal. Mark is going all in to finish the last 5 games of the season. He's only a game and a half out of a playoff spot right now, so he's looking to make a move, and he's hoping MacKinnon can take him away. But he lost a little bit in Zegras and Kopitar, so he'll have to make up some ground there. But he's banking on MacKinnon having a strong last 5 games for him, obviously.
Yeah, and then on Scott's end, I'm not sure. I know Nathan MacKinnon got hurt a little bit, but maybe he's just trying to beef up with more centers. I think Scott's goaltending, now he's got practically 3 Capitals. 2 former Capitals and Sammy, who's playing awesome. By the way, your Leafs stomped my Capitals yesterday.
Sorry about that.
I didn't really appreciate that, but the Capitals, they deserve that the way they started off pretty strong, and I don't even want to get into it, Stark. The Leafs look really well, good. That's all I gotta say. And speaking of Leafs, Sammy, just great goaltender at home, and overall, I think he's having a pretty good year for you guys. And then Scott's also got Vitek Vanacek, so maybe he's going to a 3 goaltender system. I'm not sure. He's got Darcy Kemper now in the rotation, so his depth is pretty good. He does give up a huge superstar in Nathan MacKinnon. He's still got Sidney Crosby on his roster. So he's pretty strong down the middle, even more now. I noticed Trevor Zegras is also designated for left wing in our league. But,
yeah, I'm going to have to get him on the phone and see if we can wheel and deal a little bit. I'll probably work on that the next day or two.
Yes, the trade deadline, as we've said the past few months, is February 22nd, 2023. And I want to give a shout to everybody. That's when our fantasy league dues are due, and everybody is paid up. So we're good to go there. I appreciate everybody getting those in for the top 3 prizes for the top 3 finishers. So let's see. What else do you want to talk about, Stork? It's been a heavy
we got the bad news that we should talk about. And that's today, the passing of superstar Bobby Hull.
Yeah, Bobby Hull, longtime Chicago Blackhawk. Obviously, he went and made headlines when the WHA took him, 1972?
Yes.
The Winnipeg Jets. That's when he started being called the Golden Jet, right? You're more of an expert. I'm not trying to call you old, Stork, but you're a veteran. I want to seasoned hockey fan. You got to actually see this guy play. I more knew Hull when he was hanging around with Brett when Brett was making hay with all the goals he was scoring. But what are some of your favorite memories of Bobby Hull?
Oh, I mean, watching Bobby going down the wing with the puck with the hair, it kind of remind me of Guy Lafleur going down the right wing. But when Bobby Hull went down that wing, everybody in the seats got up. And not too many players can do that. Bobby Hull was one of them. He was just electric. He was dangerous. Goalies were absolutely terrified of him. You never knew where the shot was going. And, he was an exciting hockey player to watch, especially live.
Yeah, it would have been great to see. Guys I would have paid all kinds of money to see to this day. I wish I could have been alive for Bobby Orr. I mean, I probably was alive. I was probably a couple years old before Bobby Orr hung him up. He ended up playing for the Blackhawks, if I'm not mistaken.
Sad.
Yeah, weird. But back to Hull, I would have loved to see this guy, Stan Mikita. But I'm looking at Bobby Hull's hockey IMDb. Looks like, 1968? Or no, wait. Yeah, 68, 69. I'm seeing 58 goals, 49 assists, 107 points that year. That's pretty damn good.
That was a lot of points for back then.
Yeah, in the WHA, I mean, you could speak again on this. A couple years before I was born. Look at this stat line. I don't know what I hear it was pretty good competition, but 77 goals, is that correct? 65 assists, 142 points in 1974-75 with the Winnipeg Jets. And to my amazement, his last year, 1979-80, he played for the Hartford Whalers.
Yes.
9 games, it looks like. Couple of goals. But, storied career. One hell of a howitzer of a slap shot. I mean, this is before the curves, right?
Oh, no, he had a curve.
Oh, he was the one.
He had the curve, man.
All right.
Him and Stan Mikita were, the story about the curved stick was him and Mikita were in practice. And Stan Mikita accidentally got his stick stuck in the bench. So he's trying to pull it out of the door of the bench, and he bent it. And then he went and he had this bent stick, and then he shot the puck towards the net, and it just ripped. And Bobby Hull sitting there looking at this, right? And he went over and he said to Stan, "That was quite a shot you just took with that stick." He goes, "Yeah, it just flew off my stick." So that's Bobby Hull decided to do his own stick and curve it that way. And yeah, his curve would have been illegal today.
Yeah, well, I mean, you look at some of like my boy Alex Ovechkin. These guys all use the torch.
Yeah.
Apparently, they're legal, I guess. But I remember what was it? The Stanley Cup Finals. The last time, what was it? The Canadians. They went after Marty McSorley's stick.
Yes. His stick was had more than 1.5 inch curve on it.
Yeah. And youth hockey, I remember we'd always I forget what size coin it was. If you could roll that underneath, it was, or if you couldn't, it was legal. If you could. So, anyways, yeah, great story there. A storied hockey player, a man with a lot of controversy around him. But I'm not going to be here to talk about bad about him.
I don't even want to talk about some of the stories that are coming out. I think it's been ballooned, and some bad writers out there, as we discussed with you today, Jimmy. That's
it kind of disgusted me.
Yeah, I wouldn't even give it a breath.
Yeah, let's just say, I don't know. Some people just don't. I don't know. I mean, anyways, R.I.P. to the Golden Jet, and condolences to Brett Hall and the rest of the Hall family. A sad day for hockey, because I know he was a great ambassador, and I wish I could have met him. I know he was always at card shows, from what I heard. I never got to go to any.
Yes. I've been to a couple of ones with him there, and here's a guy that when he played, he'd be out there for hours signing kids' autographs. And he wanted to make sure he got every kid a signature. And I mean, this is the kind of guy he was. I mean, we're all human. We have all made mistakes in our life.
Yep.
But as far as giving back to the kids, when Bobby Hull played, he was always there. And even after retiring, going to card shows all the time. He went to all of the veteran games and the legends games. He participated, and if he didn't play, he was there to sign autographs. And he gave back to hockey. That's for sure.
Yeah, the Golden Jet looks like I'm once again I'm on IMBD for hockey. I'm pretty sure these guys are legit. 1960 won the Art Ross. 1962 Art Ross. 64-65 the Hart Memorial Trophy. He won a Lady Byng in 64-65.
Yeah.
Art Ross again in 65-66, and then another Hart in 65-66 is what I'm seeing. But 610 goals in the NHL. 303.
And a Stanley Cup in 1960. So
yeah. So
60-61 season, I believe.
What was the WHLA Cup called?
Abco Cup.
Yeah, that thing's an interesting looking trophy. Does that thing still exist somewhere? Is that in the Hockey Hall of Fame?
Sure. I would think so, yeah. I don't think they would break it up.
My bucket list, Stork. I would love to go with you. I know you went recently. Was it after the pandemic or before the pandemic?
Just before the pandemic.
Yeah. Man. Yeah, I had a chance as a kid. I went to hockey camp in Toronto way back early 90s. And the dang Hockey Hall of Fame.
You got to go to the Hall of Fame, man.
Well, it was closed that day, Stork. When I was able to go, I was a young lad. It was in the summertime, and if you can believe this, there used to be some kind of race, Grand Prix race that would run through the town.
Yeah.
Because of that race, Jimmy couldn't go to the Hall of Fame. They closed it. And I was so mad. My dad was ready to go, and we couldn't even go. So, but I know the wife wants to go, and it's a bucket list for me for sure. And I would love to
put it on your bucket list and get there because it's a whole day of excitement and fun. That's for sure.
Yep. So, busy news day. I don't even know. There's probably so much more news. We got the All-Star break coming up, Stork. Once again, good luck to everybody in their matchups. We got a huge rivalry week. This one's going to last a little while, basically 2 weeks.
Remember, it's marathon week.
So we got Adna taking on Nova. We've got Langley. You're taking on Huma. Texas freezing Kuznetsovs. They are looking for that blessed second win. They're going to take on the Washington Wendigo. So Whalen, I know, is licking his chops. This is his last opportunity to make a big push with not an easy win, but a win he should win. Once again, Grapes' matchup of the week, DB Cooper, Probert Etiquette. I can't wait to see the fallout in this one. This is a long match between these two guys, as it should be, I think. Two of the best teams. Wyoming needs to get their act together. They're going to take on Mark Wood and the Woody Woodpeckers, who just now acquired Nate McKinnon. And then we got DuPont Pipelayers and Frozen Norsemen. Don't count out the Frozen Norsemen if they can get a big win here, Stork. They're going to be joining you maybe around that playoffs. Huma also, they got to get it going. But like you said, these standings look incredible, and a lot can be said between now and the start of the playoffs. So anything else?
5 games left is not a lot of games, but it is when you have the standings so tight. That's enough games to make some noise.
Yes, sir. So anything else you think that we're missing?
No, I think we pretty well covered everything for this week, man.
Yeah, it's going to be weird for a few days. Won't be setting a lineups. I'm looking forward to a couple days of not having to
I
deal
hate
with
the All-Star break.
Yeah, we talked about that. I like the skills competition. I don't know all the details, but apparently there's some kind of dunk contest. I can't wait to see what all this is about. So,
maybe they're gonna dunk Bettman or something.
Yeah, I would love. I know if the commission was there in Florida for the fantasy league that we're in here, I know I would probably be on that pedestal, and everybody would be firing hockey pucks at that target, and I'd probably be going in for a splash. So enjoy the All-Star break, Stork. Enjoy these 3 days of competition. The schedule is going to be kind of light. Get those fantasy players rested up, and for a big playoff push starting next week as we finish week 17. So that's all I got. Badger Bob once said, it's a great day for hockey. Stork, have a great night, buddy. And
all right,
enjoy
man.
the games. All right,
thanks,
we'll talk
everybody.
to you.
Good luck this week, everyone.
We'll talk about the All-Star game next week. And rest in